Kell Brook will fight his mandatory challenger, Kevin Bizier or Kevin Bitzer. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm going to pronounce it Bitzer for the duration of this video, just for the fact I'm not sure how to do it. So it is what it is. Anyway, Kell Brook's going to fight Kevin Bitzer in his next fight. He's the mandatory challenger. Now, ever since he beat Sean Porter for the title back in 2014, Kell Brook has come in for a lot of criticism from the boxing public. Because in 2015, he fought Jojo Dan, who was a mandatory. Then he fought Frankie Gavin, who was a voluntary. And there were fights with Brandon Rios and Diego Chavez, which never came to fruition. And that caused a lot of boxing fans to accuse Kell Brook of ducking decent competition and actually ducking the likes of Rios and Diego Chavez, because the Chavez fight was obviously not rescheduled for 2016. But to be fair to Kell Brook, this Kevin Bitzer guy is a mandatory. So it's not like he can schedule the Chavez fight or reschedule the Chavez fight for early 2016 anyway. He's obliged by the IBF to fight this Bitzer character. Now, I do think that, well, first of all, let me say this. If you think that Kell Brook is legitimately ducking the top competition, you think he's scared, you think that Eddie Hearn is protecting him, maybe you're right. I don't know. We're all just people on the outside looking in, trying to interpret what's going on. So none of us know for certain. But if that's your interpretation, you think Brook is scared, he's ducking decent competition, fair enough. Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think Brook is ducking decent competition, and I don't think Eddie Hearn's protecting him. My interpretation of it is Eddie Hearn don't have the money to bring over the big names. That's my interpretation of it. Whatever you think about the Diego Chavez fight being rescheduled, I personally don't think it was to do with Kell Brook being frightened of Diego Chavez. Okay? And all the guys who are bigger names than the likes of Rios and Chavez, I just don't think Kell Brook is a big enough name in the UK to generate enough money to entice them over. You know, all the big guys, all the big stars in the welterweight division, other than Amir Khan, they're all in the US. And in fact, even Khan is based in the US these days. So trying to entice them to come, and they're all Al Heyman fighters as well. And Al Heyman pays his fighters very well. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Eddie Hearn to bring any of those guys over. He talked about possibly matching Kell Brook against Tim Bradley, but that's out the window as well because Tim Bradley's fighting Pacquiao for a third time. So Kell Brook really is out in the wilderness. A lot of people have been saying that he should sign to Al Heyman, and I think that would be a very, very good move for him because Al Heyman's got most of the top welterweights. He's got Keith Thurman, he's got Sean Porter, he's got Danny Garcia, he's even got Amir Khan. Okay, I believe he's also got, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think he might have Errol Spence as well. I know Spence is with the money team, but I'm not sure if he's a Heyman guy. But anyway, Al Heyman's got all the, or most of the top welterweights out there. So if Brook was to sign to him, he could do just what James DeGale's done. Go over to the States, fight over there, pick up some nice paychecks. But that would contradict Eddie Hearn's plan for Kell Brook. And Eddie Hearn's plan is to build Kell Brook into a pay-per-view star in the UK and have all his fights based in the UK. And he's been very candid about this. I'm just not sure at this point in time whether that's in Kell Brook's best interest. Somebody said to me just yesterday, it's funny how Anthony Joshua is not even a world champion, but he's come along just in 2 years or whatever it is, and he's already a much bigger star than Kell Brook is when Kell Brook's been professional for what, 5-6 years or something? That's true, but to be 100% fair, marketing a heavyweight is nearly always easier than marketing anyone else. If you've got a heavyweight that can punch and he's knocking people out and he's undefeated, that is the easiest thing to market in boxing. It's always been that way. So that's just to be 100% fair about that. But nonetheless, 2015 was a poor year for Kell Brook. didn't get the kind of fights he wanted. Or some people will say he didn't want the fights. Me personally, I can't see any way that Kell Brook don't want the big fights. I mean, we all know he wants to fight Khan. I can't see any way he don't want to get the big fights. He's not making much money from fighting the likes of Jojo Dan and Frankie Gavin and Kevin Bizier. He's not making much money from this. You think he's happy just making having those kind of fights and not making any money? He ain't happy about that, I'm telling you. He wants bigger fights. He wants more money. But I just think there's a little bit of a conflict of interest, him and Eddie Hearn. I know there's an old saying that friendship and business don't mix, and that might be the situation here with Hearn and Brook, because according to Eddie Hearn, they are friends outside of boxing. Eddie Hearn's talked about how he's stuck by Kell Brook over the years through thick and thin when Kell Brook was in the wilderness and helped him and believed in him and all this kind of stuff. And obviously when he eventually beat Sean Porter, it was a very big emotional moment for Eddie Hearn and Brook and the whole team. So I get the feeling that if they weren't so close, Kell Brook would sign with Al Heyman, just as James DeGale did, because James DeGale don't give a damn about Eddie Hearn. He's just after his, money and getting what's owed to him, or getting his what he feels he's worth. And fair play to James DeGale for that. I fully salute him. Boxing is a short career. You got to get as much as you can while you're in it. But yeah, I do think possibly the close friendship between Eddie Hearn and Brook is stopping Brook from making that same move. And I think Eddie Hearn, in his upcoming contracts with his newer fighters, and obviously he just modified his contract or signed a new contract with Anthony Joshua, I think Eddie Hearn's probably going to start putting clauses in the contract which will prevent any future fighters of his from signing with Heyman. I think he's probably going to be doing that. I don't know whether he's got that kind of contract with Kell Brook, but I do feel like if Brook signed with Heyman, Eddie Hearn will feel like he got stabbed in the back. So, yeah, that's the issue, man. The big fighters are all in the States. Al Heyman, as far as I know, has Al Heyman ever sent one of his fighters overseas to fight someone? All his fighters have been fighting in the States. I know, obviously, his British-based fighters have been going over to the States, but what I'm saying is, do his fighters normally fight outside of the States? Heyman fighters? Yeah, you had DeGale against Butte in Canada, but other than that, I don't know. You tell me. So this is the issue, I think, is a promotional issue and a management issue with Kell Brook at this juncture. And to be 100% fair, right, people are acting as though it's the worst thing in the world what Kell Brook is doing. But you look at Sergey Kovalev's career. After he beat Nathan Cleverly for the title, and in my opinion, Nathan Cleverly pound for pound is not as good as Sean Porter. But after he beat Cleverly for the title, after he beat Porter for the title, look who, what am I talking about? After Kovalev beat Cleverly for the title. Sorry, I'm messing all this up. After Kovalev beat Cleverly for the title, look who Kovalev fought after that. He fought like 2 or 3 guys you'd never heard of in your life. And then he fought Hopkins. I think 3 guys. Yeah, he fought 3 guys. He fought, oh God, I can't even remember their names. He fought that Southpaw guy. Can't remember what his name was, Australian or from New Zealand or something. He fought Ishmael Salak, who's not very good. And then he fought some other guy, some unknown Southpaw guy. Another Southpaw, can't remember his name. So Sergey Kovalev fought 3 totally unknown guys after he won the title before fighting Hopkins. So how is that different from Brook? Brook's in the same situation. He's fighting 3, at least on the world level, totally unknown guys. Maybe his 4th fight will be against a big name, just as Kovalev's 4th fight was against a big name in Bernard Hopkins. It all remains to be seen. Drop your comments in the comment section below, people. I know a lot of you are going to have very strong feelings about this, about Kell Brook in this particular fight. I've got no idea who Kevin Bizier is, never seen him fight. All I know is that he's lost to Jojo Dan, which is not a good sign. But you never know. Maybe he'll turn out to be a Buster Douglas and upset the apple cart. I doubt it, but, We'll see. I'll have a look at some of his fights and see what I think. So drop your comments in the comment section below, people. As always, let's get a discussion going. Let's see what everyone is feeling like about this situation. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.